Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great Friday so far. In this video, I'm going to go over your assignment for today, which is completing the Who Am I Flipbook lesson. So in the end, you'll have a flipbook, okay, that talks all about you and who you are as a learner, whether you're left brain, right brain, your learning style, and different multiple intelligences that you have. So to start, you'll have two papers on your desk. The cover page, page 1, that says Who Am I? And then the one that's shown right here. And then you'll also have page 2, which is the left or right brained. So those are the only two papers you'll have on your desk to start. And before I even go further, right now I would like you to put your first and last name under Who Am I? You can see on the screen I wrote Carly Kessler, and I'm also holding it up here. So please write your first and last name. And then in the bottom right-hand side of the Who Am I box, I'd like you to put your period, okay, whether you're period 3 science, period 4 science, or my period 5 science class. Throughout this video, it's important that you just pause the video as you need to. So like right now, for instance, if I say write your name, period, you could just hit pause. And then after you're done doing the task, then you would unpause it and continue. So that's kind of how this will work today. You'll have your headphones in, you'll be listening, and then yes, you can pause as needed and then work at your own pace, which is nice. All right, so after you have your first and last name and the period you have science class, we will get started. Again, the goal of this book is to really dive in and discover who you are as a learner. You'll learn what does it mean to be left or right brain, and your learning styles, and then also your multiple intelligences. And then after you know your different styles, it gives you tips as a learner, what you can do to help you be more successful. And then I'll use this to help you as well in science class when we meet and go over how well you're doing with the content and what we need to work on, set some goals. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about you as a learner as well. All right, so let's get started. We are going to start with page 2. At the bottom, it says left or right brained. So when you look at the directions, it states, take this short quiz to test your left or right brain dominance. Read each pair of statements. Circle the one that is most like you. So right now, you're going to take the time to read through these 10 statements. And when you look at the screen, you'll either circle A or you will circle B. So in example number 1, A, I enjoy taking risks, or B, I would rather not take risks. So think about you as a learner. Do you like taking risks, or even in your everyday life? Do you like taking risks, or would you rather, not take risks, go with what you know? So again, at this time, what I'm going to have you do is simply just pause this video and go through questions 1 through 10, circle A or B, and then when you're done circling A or B for 1 through 10, I'm just going to have you hit unpause on the video. So you'll answer 1 through 10, pause the video, and then once you're done answering them, you can hit play and I'll continue and I will show you how to score your answers. At the bottom here, you see my score. I will go over how to score that. All right, I'll give you some time. All right, so now that you've circled an answer for 1 through 10, either A or B, it's time to score the quiz and find out, are you left brain or are you right brain? So for number 1, what I need you to do is, if you had answer A for number 1, I enjoy taking risks, what I'd like you to do is to circle the number 1. If you had B for number 1, just leave this blank. Don't circle the number 1. Okay, so that's how this will go. I'll say the number and if you should circle it or not, depending on what letter you have. So for number 1, if you had answer A, please just put a circle around number 1. For number 3, if you had answer A, please circle number 3. For number 5, if you had answer A, please circle the number 5. Again, if you had B, you just leave it blank. Number 7, if you had A, please circle number 7. Number 9, if you had A for number 9, please circle the number 9. Now, look at number 2. If you circled B for number 2, please circle the number 2. Number 4, if you had B for number 4, please circle the number 4. Number 6, if you had B for number 6, please circle number 6. Number 8, if you had B for number 8, please circle number 8. And the last one, number 10, if you had B for 10, please circle 10. If you did not have B, you just leave it blank. All right, so now what I'd like you to do is look at your numbers 1 through 10. How many of these did you circle? So say I only had 1 and 5 circled, my score would be number 2, or it would be 2. So you're just adding 1 point for each circle. So count how many of these numbers you have circled and then write your score on this line. And in a second, I'm going to tell you what does that score mean. So please write your score here. If you had 0, 1, 2, or 3, so 0 to 3 points, you are strong left-brained. Okay, and we'll go over what that means. If you had 4 to 6 points, so 4, 5, or 6, you are middle-brained. Okay, and then if you had 7 through 10 points, you are a strong right brain. Okay, and again, the next paper that you pick up is going to go over what does that mean if you are a left brain learner compared to a right brain learner. Okay, so left brain learners, if you like, you might like to lead, volunteer. You might volunteer to do a project. You have organized notes. So this is just different suggestions for left brain learners. Organize your notes. Try not to argue with the teacher. When you have a choice of projects, you may enjoy fact-based projects more than open-ended projects, and you may prefer to work alone when you have the choice. Suggestions for right brain learners: prioritize your work. Don't wait until the last minute. Use figurative language to add creativity to your essays. Write down the directions to help you remember what to do, and try to focus on finding the answer rather than all of the possible answers. Okay, so this will help because it's different suggestions depending on if you are left brain or you are right brain. All right, so now what I'd like you to do, you have scored your sheet. It's time to get the next paper. So you're going to go up to the front of the classroom and you're actually going to grab pages 3 and pages 4. So page 3 is the one that you're seeing on the screen that we just went over. It tells you how to score the right brain, left brain 10 questions, which I just went over with you. And then page 4 is what we're doing next, and that's the learning styles. So please go up and grab page 3 and 4, pause the video. When you come back, you can hit play again. All right, so now that you have page 3 and page 4, what I'd like you to do, when you look at the page 3, it says color the suggestions that match your results. Okay, so if you are more of a left brain learner, you can color in or just circle over here, okay, for the left brain suggestions. If you are more of a right brain learner, you can shade in over here or circle the right side. And if you notice at the bottom of page 3, there's a blank here, I am blank brained. You can write in there left, you can write middle, or you can write down right. So feel free to fill in that answer for what side brain, okay, are you? And then we will start with page 4, which is the learning styles. It's green. So for page 4, learning styles, it says take this quick quiz to find your learning styles. For each statement, you're going to score yourself as 3 if you do it often, 2 if it applies sometimes, and then 1 point if it's seldom or never. Okay, so right next to the number 1 on that line, you would write a 3, 2, or 1. So I remember things better if I write them down. So if you're the type of person where, teacher says you have homework, you have to do this right away, you write it down. okay, then you would probably put a 3. If that happens often, you constantly find yourself writing things down to remember them. If you sometimes once in a while you'll get out a sticky note, write something down, you can put a 2. And if that doesn't really apply to you, you never really write things down to remember them, you can just put a 1. Okay, so you'll score every question a 3, 2, or 1. Number 2, if I look at people, it helps me stay focused on what they're saying. So are you the type of person that has to look at someone to stay focused on what they're saying? If that's definitely you need to be looking at them to stay focused, put a 3. Okay, so you get the picture. You're going to go through 1 to 18, read the statement, and put a 3, 2, or 1. 3 represents this happens often, 2 sometimes, and then 1 never really, maybe once in a while. Okay, once you're done answering 1 through 18, you can push play, and I'll go over how to score this one. Okay, so you can pause me, answer 1 to 18, push play, and then I'll go over how to score this and get your results for what your learning style is. Thanks. All right, now it's time to score this and find out your learning style. So the first thing I'd like you to do is take your pencil and draw a line, like you see on the screen, underneath number 6. Okay, so just draw a line underneath number 6 all the way across. And then what I need you to do is add up the numbers from 1 to 6. Add up all the numbers that you have written down on the lines. Once you've added up the numbers from 1 to 6, write your number. You can just box the number and put it off to the side, like where you see this box at. So add them up. If you need to pause me, feel free to. Add up the numbers and then just write it down off to the side. After you add up your totals for 1 to 6, I'm going to have you draw another line underneath question 12, line 12. And again, from 7 to 12, please add up your scores. How many numbers you have there, just add them up. And again, write that number, the total from 7 through 12. You can just write it off to the side and put a box around it. The last step would be, again, you're going to add number 13 to 18, add up your scores, and then just put that number right here. So we've divided 1 to 18 into 3 different sections. There are 3 main types of learning styles. That's why the paper is formatted this way. So from 1 to 6, whatever your number was up here, that number will go down here, and that is for visual learners. In the middle section here, whatever number you got goes in auditory. And then the last number, okay, will go down here under kinesthetic. So take a look at your numbers and just circle which one is the largest number. Which of yours, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, is the largest? And then just to let you know, if any of these numbers are greater than 14, that represents like a strong strength of yours in that specific area. Okay, so you might have 2 of them that are greater than 14 because you can be different types of learners and you can be multiple at the same time. So it's interesting to take a look, and then what's neat is the next paper that you pick up will go over suggestions if you're an auditory learner versus kinesthetic, visual. So once you pick up this paper, you can shade in, which type of learner you are, and do you fall under more than one learning style? That's possible. So at this time, you are ready to go up and get pages 5 and page 6 from the front of the room. Okay, so you're going to go up and get page 5, and then the pink page number 6 for the multiple intelligences. So you can put me on pause, go up, get those 2 papers, and then we'll go over what your multiple intelligences are. All right, welcome back. So now you have page 5. Okay, so on page 5, you're going to use the information that we just scored about your learning style and take a look at page 5. Shade in whichever learning style had the highest results. Maybe you had greater than 14 and more than 1, but take the time now to shade it in for page 5. And then also take the time to just read through the suggestions that it's saying. If you're that type of learner, these suggestions might help you be more successful in school. Also on page 5 at the bottom here, okay, on page 5, it says my learning style is. If it was just mainly one specific one, write that down. If it was more than one, you can write 2 down before we move on to multiple intelligences. All right, so the last type of quiz we're going to take is on your multiple intelligences. Here it says take this quick quiz to determine your intelligence strengths and then check the statements that sound like you. So as you read these statements, if it sounds like you and it's describing you, just put a check. Chances are if you have to think about it like, is this really me? It's probably not. So right away when you read it, don't put too much thought into it. If it sounds like you, just put a check. If not, skip it. There's a lot of them. There's 45, so just quickly read through, put a check. If you're confused on what something's asking, feel free to just raise your hand and clarify with the teacher. But other than that, you just read it. If it sounds like you, put a check. So do you like to sort things into categories? Are you, organized, like to sort things? Put a check. If not, skip it. So you're going to put me on pause, go through and read all 45 statements, and all you need to do is put a check if it applies to you. Once you're done, you can hit play. All right, so now that you have gone through all 45, okay, if you're listening right now, that means you've already answered 1 through 45 with checks that apply to you. It's time to evaluate this and grade it and see, what are your multiple intelligences? And you can definitely have more than one. So before we score this, what I'd like you to do, if you look on the screen, after every 5 questions, we're going to put a line. So after 5, put a line underneath number 5, number 10, number 15, number 20, underneath 25, 30, 35, and 40. You're just adding a line underneath. And these are going to represent the 8 different multiple intelligences. So what you're going to do, you can actually go get that last paper from the front of the room. So put me on pause and you'll get page 8, the last pink sheet, which is a full sheet. Okay, we're almost ready to staple the whole booklet. All right, so now you have that last page. It's actually page 7. I accidentally said page 8 in the last section of the video. Before we look at that page 7, what I want you to do is on page 6, the one you see on the screen, you drew those lines under every 5 questions. What I'd like you to do is add up how many checkpoints you have in each section. So look at questions 1 through 5. Say you have 2 checkpoints. You can just put a number 2 there, circle it, okay, off to the side, move on to the next section. Numbers 6 through 10, add up the checkpoints, put the number there, and keep doing that for each section. And then when you look at page 7, you could easily just transfer this over. So questions 1 to 5, how many points did you have? Points are just the checks. And then what that will do is you can see your multiple intelligences. Take a look at which intelligences you scored the highest in. So maybe your visual, you have 4 points here for visual, but you only have 3 points over here for logical. Okay, and you might not have any points for some of these. So everyone is different and has different strengths. So this is just looking at all your different types of intelligences, and we'll talk more about that in class. But what's neat is once you're done, it says color the suggestions that match your results. It is possible to have more than one intelligence strength. So it will tell you what that means if you have this specific multiple intelligence. And then it even says possible careers, and it'd be interesting to look at those careers and see, are you interested in any of them? There is a back side to this booklet, but I don't mind if we wait to do this backside until I return. I know this was a lot going through the booklet. So once you're done the multiple intelligences, you can write your strengths at the bottom of the page. Okay, and then you're going to ask the teacher to borrow the stapler, and you're going to nice and neatly organize your booklet from the cover page where it says "Who am I?" to page all the way down to page 7. So in the end, it should look nice and neat like this. The top, you want to make sure it's lined up before you staple just 2 times at the top. Okay, and you're going to turn this booklet in before you leave. So even if you're not done, every single student will turn this in. Okay, and then I will discuss more when I return on Monday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you finish early, check out my Canvas page for what you should do next. But thank you for doing such an awesome job today. I'm looking forward to reading your booklets and helping you be successful by looking at, what type of learner are you. So, awesome job. Thank you. Have a great weekend.